Hello everyone, so welcome and join me to talk about budgeting and what is budgeting in the first place, why do we need to budget, what is this good for, when do we budget, who budgets, and how do we do it. So without no further ado, let's start. So let's begin by just saying that all businesses budget, all companies, they have an yearly budget, a yearly plan, because they want to know, to be very sure how much money they predict they will be making during the year and how much expenses they will have to pay for the employees, for the offices and so on. So they want to make sure they, at the end of the year or on a monthly basis, they won't be losing money. They want to make sure that they plan to make money. So budgeting can be seen as a tool, as a means of planning for making money. But for the individual, it can be used both for making money, for planning to make money, but also to make sure that actually one lives within the means or the income one earns. So to make sure that one don't needs to, for example, borrow money at the end of the month because there is no money left to pay for the bills. So budgeting is a planning tool that allows individuals to make sure that they reach their financial goals. These financial goals can vary, and for more basic financial goals, the most basic thing you can plan for is at least to make sure that on a monthly basis or yearly basis you will be able to pay your bills with the money that you make, your income, which for most of the people is their monthly or weekly salary. Now, why do we do this for? Why do we need to plan? Well, as I said before, if we don't do it and we keep just on spending, then we have no idea how much money have we spent, how much money do we have available, can we still have enough money to pay the bills, what happens if we don't pay the bills. Well, if we don't pay the electricity bill, maybe we'll have to call the company to explain to them, to ask them, and to hassle for a delay in payment and so on and so forth. So maybe we don't want to do that. So one financial goal, as I said, is to spend as much money as we are making, so we don't go over our limits. We say that we don't go over our budget. We, for example, if we earn, say roughly, just for the sake of the calculation, we'd earn in a month $1,000, then we want to make sure that we don't spend more than $1,000 during that month. We can think, okay, we need to pay the bills, the mortgage, the phone bills, the electricity, the water, whatever, food, but what we do spend, stay within that limit. That is one financial goal. Another financial goal is, well, actually, I don't only want to pay my bills during the next month. I actually would like to put $100 into a travel. I want to go to Ibiza, I want to go to Coachella, I want to go to Miami, to Florida, to Mexico, wherever. So what happens in this instance, people will tend to start thinking, oh yes, but I don't have money, I cannot afford, I can barely pay my bills, and so on and so forth. Well, then we can think, okay, I have this goal that I would like this year or this summer to go on this particular trip. So what that would mean would be like, okay, how am I going to afford to do that? How am I going to do this? Where am I going to find the money for? And one simple way is to keep saving money on a couple of months. So at the end of this time, we have a pot of money that we can use for a travel, for a nice party, for a nice dress, for a nice whatever. So with this particular strategy, we need to factor in that on top of our expenses, paying the bills and everything, we need to budget, we need to plan for those money that we want to put apart aside for a travel. So we need to save. Another financial goal can be like, okay, this year I would like to start saving, I want to start investing, I want maybe to make some passive income. And we can look into these particular topics in another video. I can explain more if you want. If you would like to know more about this, we can dive a little bit deeper into the topics of how do I save money, how do I invest, how do I make passive income, or how do I decrease my costs, how do I save on bills, how do I take a side hustle, what can I do to increase my salary or to decrease my costs. These are the basic two principles actually that we can look at. Increase the income or decrease the costs. Well, actually there is a third one because it will be the combined strategy, both increasing the income and decreasing the costs. So, okay, we talked about why we want to start planning and start budgeting. So, as I said, financial goal, make sure that we don't overspend. Financial goal that we want to save money for travel, or we want a financial goal to start investing, putting money aside. We want actually to start earning some passive income from our money. Now that we know why we want to plan and we want to know what we will be planning for, we need to start thinking, okay, how are we going to do this? And first to think about is, okay, am I going to have a monthly budget or am I going to have a yearly budget? Or even, do I want to think long term? Do I want to think about like a couple of years ahead and start planning and saving and investing maybe for some bigger goal? When we can look into these particular things later, but for now let's start simply and basically with a monthly budget, and we can later start thinking, okay, if we can do this budget and planning on a monthly basis, how can we do it on a yearly basis? And obviously on a monthly basis maybe the goals are going to be a little bit simpler, and as we increase the time that we're planning for, we can start thinking about bigger goals. So for example, if we start budgeting for a whole year, then we can think we have enough time to, for example, save a little bit more, start side hustles and so on. But keep it simple for now. Just think about monthly budget and how you can start applying this financial tool, planning tool. So basically you can do this in at least 2 different ways. You can take a piece of paper and divide it vertically into columns. At the left hand side you can write as a title income, and on the right hand side you can write the title expenses. So on the left column you'll be writing down all the income that you expect on that month, It can be your salary, it can be maybe you have some interest coming from a loan, it can be you have a side hustle, it can be whatever else. And on the right hand side under the expense column you will be having maybe all your bills, your rental, your mortgage, your phone, your electricity, your water, your heating if it's not included in the rent, or whatever you need to pay. And also your food expenses, what you normally think that you spend on a month on food. Any other expense that you think might happen during that month. You might need to go to the dentist, or it might have a doctor appointment. You might want to, maybe it's somebody else's birthday, you want to buy them a gift. Maybe it's your own birthday, you want to plan for a gathering. So put everything that you think that you will be buying in that particular month in the right column. Once you have done that, at the bottom of each column you sum up on the left hand side all the income streams, and on the right hand side all the expenses. And then you'll compare your total income with your total expenses and see, ideally in an ideally world you want your income to be bigger than your expenses. So that's saying, that means, okay, on that particular month I will be able to cover all my expenses from the income that I have. And ideally you want to even say, oh, okay, look, I even have a little surplus. And the way you calculate the surplus, or you can even have the surprise to be left over with a deficit, and which means that you won't be able to cover all the expenses that you plan to have in that month from the income for that particular month. So one way of determining how much surplus you're going to have or how much deficits you're going to have is obviously subtract your expenses from your income. And that amount of money will be the amount of money that will be left over, or if it's a deficit, it will be the amount of money that you'll need to borrow in order to cover everything that you plan to expend. Now, with borrowing, I'm not going to